You're probably here because you're wondering what I actually used from my hospital bag. So in case you missed it, my what I'm packing in my hospital bag post is one of the more popular videos on my channel. Make sure to hit subscribe, like that video. And today I'm going to share with you guys what I actually used, what I wish I had packed, and what was an absolute bust or waste in delivering this little nugget. So Reagan's now 5 months. I'm sorry that this video is coming out so much later, but new mom life, right? Right. All right, so 5 months old over here. They definitely like to start pulling your hair at 5 months. I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the toiletries and share with you guys what we used. So I mentioned in my hospital bag video, I packed nipple butter. Absolute waste. Again, when you're at the hospital, make sure that you use everything you can get for free. The more free stuff, the better. And if you guys watched that video, you even know I switched from my smaller suitcase to a larger one, so I had more room to steal more diapers. So 100% use all the free hospital stuff, and they will actually give you lanolin samples as well as gel pad samples at the hospital. So those are what I used. I will link in the description of this post more about my breastfeeding journey. It's not that I didn't need nipple butter and different nipple things to help soothe. It was just that I used what the hospital provided before using my own resources. Face wash was a good thumbs up. Definitely used that. Helped me feel like a normal person. Used my floss. Used my toothbrush. I packed Weleda body butter. I did take a shower at the hospital, and I did use this post shower. Like I said, the hospital is really dry. So I said originally I wasn't going to wash my daughter for the first week because I wanted that goat cheesy, waxy stuff. What is it called again that they're born with? You know what I'm talking about if you're pregnant. Kind of thick, creamy stuff that is on your skin when the baby's first born. I wanted that to really like soak in for the first week, so I thought I was not going to wash my daughter. That ended up not being the case. My daughter was born at like 41 or 42 weeks, and so when she was born, she didn't have any of that waxy cheese-like substance on her skin. It had all actually absorbed already because she was so late. And we ended up having to stay at the hospital for 2 nights because she ended up coming really, really quick. I'll link my birth story in the description box as well. We got to the hospital at about 3:15. She was born an hour and a half later. And so I was GBS positive, and if you don't know what that means, it's totally normal. You just have to get through an antibiotic bag before the baby comes, after your water breaks and before the baby comes out. But because she was born so fast, I didn't have time to get through the full dose of antibiotics, so they required us to stay for a full 48 hours before they would release her. And so on that second night that we were there, I realized that I didn't feel totally comfortable with washing our daughter once we got home, how to work our way around the stump. And so we asked one of the nurses that night to come to our room and show us how to bathe her. So we ended up using our Honest body wash, and I was a big fan of that. Now, as far as my body wash goes for my shower, I packed this little travel thing. What I did not think about was whether or not it had a smell. I just grabbed any random travel body wash from our travel drawer, if you guys have a travel drawer. I opened this baby up in the shower at the hospital, and holy hell, it reeked like really strong perfume. And I had already like put it on my skin before the smell had registered in my postpartum brain, and I had to quickly like try to get it all off of me. So I didn't want any strong scents around her. It gave me a headache as soon as I put it on. So that's just one thing I would make sure you're considering if you are just grabbing a random travel size hotel shampoo, conditioner, or body wash. Make sure that you are going ahead and smelling that first and making it something that's really neutral for your baby, who's going to have a lot of new senses and experiences. I also packed baby body lotion, which we did not end up using, so that was a waste. A couple other baby things that I don't have with me. I packed my own baby wipes. I ended up not using them. I just, again, use whatever the hospital gives you. I ended up using everything they gave us and stealing so much of it that those little ones that I showed in my original video of what I was packing, I ended up using them in my diaper bag, and they just kind of stayed in my diaper bag. I stole the hospital baby wipes and also kept them in my diaper bag. You ready for a nap? Yeah? I'm gonna go ahead and put her down for a nap. What do you think? Or do you want to keep helping? Okay, we'll be right back. All right, I'm back. Okay, so going through the rest of my toiletries. So the other thing I packed was coconut oil, if you guys remember, in that little glass jar for the first poop that baby has once they're born, called like the meconium or something like that. It's supposed to be like a really thick tar-like one. And basically she was born, they put her in my arms, and within the first 10-15 minutes she had pooped 3 times in my bare hands. So welcome to motherhood. And so I mean, obviously you just had a baby, so it's all a little bit fuzzy, but she pooped those ones in my hands. The nurses just kind of like wiped my hands, wiped the baby's body, gave us a bunch of new blankets, and then she peed on me, and it all happened really quickly where it was not so much concern about how we're gonna get this tar-like substance off her body and me. The nurses really just kind of came in and just changed everything so quickly that it was never a concern. And by the time we were in our postpartum room, her poops, I mean, she pooped and we would change her so quickly that nothing ever really got stuck on her bottom. So if you want to pack coconut oil, go ahead. You can always use it for your skin. We didn't really find a need for it. So that's going to do it for toiletries. As far as the things that I had packed. So I talked about this in my hospital bag video. It's like a knockoff of the Belly Bandit. It goes around your waist as such to like put everything to help you get everything back into shape. I think I've tried putting this on in the hospital and I quickly took it off. I don't know how women immediately jump into tying something around their waist. Kudos to them. It was just not something that felt right for me. I really ended up preferring to just let my body do its thing. And I've never, even when I got home a week later, 2 weeks later, I didn't feel comfortable in it. It's not that this isn't a great product. It is. I would highly recommend it if that's something high on your priority list. It just was not something high on my priority list. And I much preferred to feel comfortable, whereas I know other women like to feel more supported. I just wanted it all to hang out, and that really worked for me personally. Other things I packed, I told you guys I had packed this bra from Target because it was really easy to like obviously pop a boob out. I was wearing this and my milk came in really fast before I left the hospital. So when you first have your baby, you don't actually have milk in your breast yet, you have colostrum. And my daughter was cluster feeding around the clock, and I'll link in the description box below the story about our breastfeeding journey. And she was cluster feeding around the clock the first couple days we had her, where by the time we were leaving the hospital, my milk had started coming in and my breasts were really engorged, hard, painful. And I was wearing this bra, and one of the lactation consultants at the hospital was like, you need a bra with more support. And she could not have been more right. This was really great like the first night, but by the time my milk came in, this was useless. And so I ended up switching to this, which is a nursing bra, so it just kind of unsnaps right here. This is the Old Navy one that I showed you guys in that video before. I love this one. It is the most supportive one. There's one other brand I like, which I'll link both of them below if you want to shop either of those. This one though, it just feels the most secure, most supportive. I like that it's flesh toned, at least for my skin tone. Highly recommend. Also, I'm actually wearing the MEJ tanks that I talked about in that last video. So like I said, it has a deep cutout, makes it really simple to breastfeed. I wore these tank tops while pregnant and they work really great postpartum. Again, these are not maternity tank tops. These are just everyday one size fits all tank top, and I could not recommend them enough. They are a little bit pricier. They're like $40, but they go on sale for $10 all the time. And if you guys want to buy them pre-owned, you can find them on eBay a lot of times for $10. So these work really great whether you're pregnant or not, postpartum. They are nursing friendly. The other thing I talked about in that video are my elephant pants. I bought elephant pants before I was pregnant. They worked with me all through pregnancy, and postpartum, I still love them. One of you guys messaged me after watching the hospital bag video and told me that they could not find elephantpants.com. Unfortunately, a few months ago, it looks like their website shut down, and so I will link the other brand that everyone has been going to instead in the description box below. But I wanted to show you the pants just so you know what I'm talking about. So these are elephant pants. They have little elephants in the pocket. They are super, super stretchy. Again, I wore them all the way to 42 weeks. I wear them before I was pregnant. I wear them postpartum. I live in them. They're super soft, super stretchy, and I can't recommend finding a pair of pants like this enough. As far as other clothing items I talked about that I brought this robe. I lived in this robe at the hospital in postpartum. I don't think I got dressed, not even into this and my pants, one time at the hospital. I just wore this robe. And when we got home, I lived in my robe. You're basically, if you are going to breastfeed those first few weeks, a nudist postpartum. And I cannot stress this enough. Get a robe that you feel comfortable wearing with nothing else under it if people were to show up into a room. My only kind of critique that I have about this robe, I thought it would be nice and cool because chenille, like, if it's cold in the room, it kind of feels cold to the touch before you put it on and your body heat warms it up. That was not the case. I sweated my behind off postpartum. Every single day in the hospital, my sheets were drenched in sweat. I did not know it was possible to sweat that much. And so postpartum, your hormones are doing some crazy, crazy things. This robe was a little bit thicker than I think I would have liked. But I still, this was the perfect robe for me. I cannot recommend it enough, making sure that you get one that feels really comfortable. I also packed slippers, which I never wore. These were they were absolute waste. I did pack my own socks. The hospital had given me socks and they were really thin and kept falling down. And so I did wear these sometimes. I just kind of wore whatever, and then I almost lost these multiple times. So maybe skip your own pair of socks if you're prone to losing things, because I love these socks and I almost lost them twice at the hospital. So, because you end up, when you're sweating and you're hot and your postpartum brain is kicking in, you kick off your socks a lot, at least I did, and I just kept almost losing them. All right, over to baby stuff. I had packed a nice little swaddle blanket. I'll link this one below in the description box so you can shop it. Super cute. I never used this. I thought I was going to use it for baby photos in the hospital. What I ended up doing was I ended up using the hospital blanket for baby photos in the hospital. And you know, this is not the cutest, but my rationale is that you only are in the hospital for a brief period in your baby's life. And so I wanted to really document with what they had. There was plenty of time for me to take photos with my cute blankets when I got home. So that was a personal choice. I didn't really end up using this. I ended up actually, like I said, I stole everything from the hospital. Stealing like 8 of these. There's a bunch already spread around our house. This is just my clean pile. I have 4 of them right here. The hospital blankets. I cannot recommend stealing these enough. So these are going to be thicker than pretty much any blanket that you guys are going to go ahead and buy. And your baby will, when you bring them home, spit up, have blowouts, all that fun stuff. I nurse my daughter in our bed and I lay her down. I do it side lying a lot. So I lay down the blanket like this. She lays on top of it. I lay like this. Milk dribbles out. Sometimes she'll spit up a little bit. Sometimes she'll have poop leak from the sides of her diaper. All that fun stuff. Again, welcome to motherhood. And I have found that these blankets are really thick and create a really great barrier between baby bodily fluids and your sheet and mattress. Much better than, say, a swaddle blanket, which is really sheer and see-through, as you guys can kind of see here. Like, I don't know if you can see, but it's really sheer, super see-through, much lighter. So I would recommend stealing these. Don't ask, just take. My friend asked because she wanted it as a souvenir and they said no, so just take them. The other thing I stole from the hospital, so a lot of you guys know I had packed some baby clothes in my little bag here. The kimono was too big, the gowns worked well, but she ended up, when my daughter was at the hospital, every time somebody would go to pick her up, she would end up vomiting all over them. So pretty much I was the only one that could handle her really. And she ended up vomiting all over like the 2 or 3 gowns I brought and the 2 or 3 onesies I brought. So by the time we were leaving after 48 hours, actually she had run out of all of her clothes by the time 24 hours was over. So one of the nurses got me the kimonos they keep on at the hospital for babies. And so they're these little halvesy ones. And I clearly fell in love with them because I stole like 3 or 4 of them. These are fantastic if you can get your hands on them from the hospital because they have no lower buttons and they cut off before the umbilical cord. And this just really made changing her diaper at night a breeze. It was great to have like a quick little backup. And she really did live in these the first couple months of life. I was a big fan of these, more so than her onesies, more so than her gowns, more so than anything. These little crop top kimonos. Again, whatever you can get from the hospital, take. Ain't no shame in the game. And this is not something I used at the hospital, but I did want to bring it up. This is a swaddle blanket. It's different than this one. So this one's like one of those nice muslin ones. This one is more a stretchy jersey material. This is going to be, if you are having a hard time with swaddles, this one's going to be a lot easier to swaddle your baby. So I didn't bring this in the hospital with me, but it became one of our favorite blankets once we got her home, and I just wanted to bring that up. Other things that I used at the hospital, my own pillow. I could not have been more happy I packed my own pillow. This was a huge, huge help. I did not like the hospital pillows, and this really helped me stay comfortable while I was there. I brought my own sheet, or my own blanket. Again, something I'm really, really happy I ended up bringing with me. The hospital sheets and blankets, they were just too warm and uncomfortable, and having that comfort from home made a big difference for me. I also brought my own towel, if you guys remember. Again, this was a huge plus, highly recommend. The hospital towels were small and itchy. Having my own towel to go ahead and get wrapped up in after my first postpartum shower felt amazing, and I cannot stress bringing your own towel enough. The other things that I talked about in my hospital bag video were headphones. I did not end up using headphones. I talked about having like the audios for hypnobirthing. I did listen to those while I was laboring at home, but again, we got to the hospital at 3:15 and my daughter was born an hour and a half later. The hospital hadn't even finished admitting me before she was born. Like, things moved that quickly. So I never got a chance to use the headphones. My doula did come and she brought speakers, and we did have music playing in the room, but I never used the headphones. I also packed an iPad to watch TV. Clearly my labor did not stall, and that was not something I ended up using. And once we were in the labor and postpartum recovery rooms, I think we went to go watch TV a couple times, but honestly, like, I was just so mesmerized by my daughter that I was watching her the whole time, or cuddling with my husband, or up and down from the bathroom. I just didn't end up watching a ton of TV. I think I tried to put it on a couple times, and people were just coming in and out of the room and distracting me, wanting to take my vitals, things like that, where I just didn't even have time to watch television. I did pack a lot of snacks, if you guys remember, and we didn't even end up eating a ton of those, to be honest. I think I ate the peanut butter cups because, again, I have a really big sweet tooth, so I had those for like an evening snack. But really, the hospital food where we were, the portions were really large. They kept us fed throughout the day. And again, I was in labor for such a short amount of time that I didn't feel like I needed any sort of like energy boost or pick me up. Again, you're not supposed to have snacks once you get to the hospital and you're in like labor and delivery. I was going to break that rule if I had a really long labor, and I was going to have some fruit snacks, or like an almond butter packet. Again, things move so quickly, I didn't find a need for that. the cord blood banking kit, because we did choose to do cord blood banking, and I'll link a blog post as to why that was in the description box as well. That ended up, obviously we ended up using it. It was a little bit more work than I realized, so you actually have to send somebody to go down to meet the courier with it, and my husband had run out to go pick us up dinner, and my husband didn't realize that he was allowed to sleep at the hospital with us that night. He thought he had to go home like he was a normal visitor. And so he ran home to go get some stuff, and then so one thing about packing your hospital bags, make sure your husband realizes he will be there with you for however many days. So he went home to go get a couple things and pick us up dinner. And that is when the cord blood banking courier came. And so one of the nurses actually had to run it down for me. So just kind of wanted to note that. The placenta bag, we ended up using that. My doula went ahead, grabbed the placenta, brought it to wherever to get those capsules made. I also talked about packing a bathing suit. Again, my labor was so fast that we didn't end up using the labor tub from the hospital. So one of the doulas I had spoken with prior to giving birth said, don't put a deposit down on the labor tub, that usually the hospital always has enough available, and to just like get there, show up, see how you're feeling, see how things are progressing. So I'm really happy we did that rather than jumping the gun and putting the deposit down, because we never would have had time to use it anyway. Let's see what else. And my birthing ball. So we did bring a birthing ball to the hospital. We brought it up with us from the get-go, and I did use it. It was actually when I was bouncing on the birthing ball that my water finally broke. So my water broke, and literally like 2 seconds later, people were like, there's hair. So didn't know that could happen, but yeah, your water can break, and your baby's head can literally be like right there. So that's what happened for me. I was bouncing on the ball. I had a really overwhelming urge. I stood up, I said to my doula, I feel like I'm gonna poop. Like I shouted it, and she's like, that's okay, that's normal. And I was like, should I go to the bathroom? She's like, just keep breathing. And then literally like a scene out of a movie, the floodgates opened. Maybe TMI, but if you're gonna have a baby, there's a lot of TMI. So that is everything that I ended up using for my hospital bag. I will link all the products in the description box below so you can shop it all, make your life super easy. And I will also go ahead and link our birth story, got my breastfeeding story, so all of those more personal stories if you're interested in that content as well. And I hope you guys have the best labor and delivery experience possible.